Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bliss Essence. So, today we are diving into the basics of astrology and how you can use it to better understand yourself. We'll talk about like the main components of your birth chart and other key placements. There are also so many things when it comes to astrology that I still am learning every single day, but I'm going to try to condense like the basic things that you might need to know to kind of just get like yourself started, like a little mini astrology 101 course. So let's see what each sign or each placement means and what it can reveal about you. Let's get started. All right, so the first one we have is your sun sign. So this one is the one that usually people know most about. It represents kind of like your core essence. Like at the end of the day, like, okay, this is kind of what I want to be or would like to be or am. And it's kind of like the essence of who you overall are. So the sun moves through each zodiac sign for about a month, right? And so your sun sign reveals like your primary characteristics, motivations, and like your overall like approach to life. So like for example, if you're a Taurus, maybe like you do want money in life, like, and like you do maybe things like a little bit slower and more carefully. You may enjoy food a lot, like you might be a foodie. So like things like that, like even with say Capricorns may want like success, like whether that be academic, financial, they're very ambitious. Um, and other placements might let you figure out like what you might be ambitious about or what matters to you. The reason why I usually say like, okay, horoscopes are nice and all. Don't get me wrong, like they're nice to read. Personally, for me, this is just a personal take, but I don't think that like my sun sign horoscope is always going to determine what's going to happen in my life. But that because like I believe it's like saying like, okay, only your family will like influences your life. Like no, your friends, yourself, your environment. There's so many things that influence your life, and that's also how your chart is broken down like into like sense of self, like home and family, emotions. There's so many things, so that's how the like that could influence it. So yes, maybe like overarching theme for most people with your sun sign could be that, but to find out your specific things, you do have to kind of understand other placements. So now let's move on to your moon sign. All right, so next up is your moon sign. This used to be something that was like often less talked about. Now I've noticed people are starting to get like more interested in this stuff. So I've noticed some people know their like moon sign and more about it, but it is equally important. So your moon sign actually represents how your emotional world is like, or what brings you emotional stability and how you process your feelings. So while the sun might show like your external personality, your moon reveals like your inner self, your subconscious, your emotional needs. So for example, like if I'm taking myself an example, right, like I'm an Aries sun, so I come off as very like extrovert, fun, like um I like to achieve my goals, I like to have fun. At the same time, with my Capricorn moon, fun is not something that will always bring me emotional stability. What will bring me emotional stability is literally physical stability, like finances, housing, like all my like basic needs and financial needs like met. So that is something. And maybe someone with like a Sagittarius moon and an Aries, they like probably could come off similar to the way that they feel. But the thing is, like with Sagittarius moons, like maybe travel, exploration is what like gives you more like contentment, like emotional contentment. So that's like something to keep in mind. So for example, if you are like say a Cancer moon, like you may be emotionally nurturing, deeply intuitive, crave security in your relationships, and even sometimes like social situations can get a lot because you might be like absorbing a lot of those situations, and you might want to step away from social situations at times. And then, as I mentioned, like Sagittarius moon might seek freedom, adventure, prefers to keep like emotions lighthearted or at like a distance. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So the moon sign is super important in also understanding how you would react, or how it says you're more likely to react. And it's the energy that drives your mood swings, your reactions to stress, the way you express your feelings in personal relationships. So Cancer moons might be more like forward with their emotions, whereas like Sagittarius moons might not, and Capricorn moons might not either. So that's just something to keep in mind. Up next, we have your rising sign, also known as your ascendant. So this sign represents how you show your face to the world, or like how others perceive you, and the energy you give off in social settings. So like maybe you could be like, I don't know, like a Taurus to your core, right? So you could be like somebody who values like money, enjoys food, comfort in life, and then you could also be, I don't know, like a Sag moon, but who also like only gets emotional fulfillment while they're having their freedom and um they're like adventure. That's like the ideal life. But if you have, say, a rising sign in, I don't know, Scorpio, you might come off as, other people might think you're a little bit more secretive, a little bit more mysterious. So it's kind of like what people see you as when they first meet you, and then how you come across before they kind of get to know your deeper layers. And so, for instance, we have Libra rising, right? So, Libra rising might come off as like charming and diplomatic and balanced, but maybe that's not always the case of how you feel, but that's just how you come off. Or like Capricorn rising could come off as more reserved, ambitious, or serious at first glance, but then you could have like Sagittarius placements and you're like, I am just exploring all over the place, you know? So yeah, your rising sign basically gives you this initial impression of like how you present yourself to the world. It is relevant because honestly, it's the most down to the T you. Like, and when I say that, I mean it's based on your time of birth. Your rising sign is based on time of birth, so it's like it also kind of influences how you look. So like, I'm a Sag rising, right? Sag risings tend to have like long legs, or mainly like glute areas, like a big one. Tauruses might have like something with their face and neck. Aries risings might have like a really, like it's something related to your head. Leo risings have big hair. I've noticed that a lot. Like Leo risings have great and big hair. So the like it can also talk about like how you physically look and all those factors. All right, next up we have your Mercury sign. So let's talk about Mercury, the planet of communication. Mercury shows you how you learn, communicate and think in terms of others, right? So it represents your style of thinking, how you process information, and how you express yourself verbally. So for example, if somebody is like a Gemini Mercury, they're likely quick-witted, like they're curious, they enjoy intellectual debates, while a Taurus Mercury might be more methodical, practical, and takes time to form opinions. And Aries Mercury could just like be impulsive and speaking whatever's on their mind, like right away, like that's it. Like, so these are some of like the differences in those. So your Mercury sign essentially just helps you understand how you process emotion and information, sorry, and communication with others. It's a huge factor in relationships, work, and how you connect with people around you. So like say if you are an Aries Mercury, maybe just be mindful to like, you know, sharing is great. Like sharing your opinion, being honest is great. And at the same time, like impulsive thoughts, like whatever's in your head, like doesn't always need to be said. Like things like that are something to keep in mind. It just kind of like this whole setup kind of just lets you know, it makes you a little bit more aware of yourself. And whatever resonates, and if it doesn't, you don't have to pick that up, you know? Next up, we have Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and relationships. Your Venus sign shows you how you approach love, what you value in relationships, what makes you feel loved and appreciated. So, for example, if you're like a Taurus Venus, right, you love stability, comfort, and loyalty in relationships. A Scorpio Venus might like intense, deeply passionate, like emotionally depth and transformative, like love, right? So, your overall, like your Venus reveals your love language, your values when it comes to your partnerships and the way you express your affection. It essentially is like for understanding your compatibility with others and how you seek beauty and pleasure in life. So, like, just be mindful that your Venus, your Mercury specifically, are compatible with the person that you are interested in or pursuing or in a relationship with, because that is something that is really important. Next up, we have Mars. So, this is the planet of action, energy, drive. Your Mars sign shows how you take action, assert yourself, even how you deal with your anger, honestly. Like, aggression is like a big one with Mars as well. It's the energy that drives you to pursue your goals, fight for what you want. So, for example, if you're an Aries Mars, Aries, it loves, it's an home planet, kind of, right? So, like, if you're an Aries Mars, maybe you, when you get angry, or you, the way you're pursuing action is like, maybe you're just impulsive, you're action oriented, you love a good challenge, and maybe you get mad easily. But if you're, say, like a Virgo Mars, which is like not the always the best place for Mars, then maybe you might approach tasks in a more detailed, organized, and methodical way. You might prefer efficiency over being risky, whereas like Aries Mars is like, whatever, like, let's see what happens. So your Mars sign tells you about like also your physical energy, sexual drive, and the way you assert yourself in the world. It's the planet that shows your passion, how you go after what you want in life. So I am a Sagittarius Mars, for example. So like for me, a lot of the things, the way that I go with my life is like using higher education, using spirituality, using um travel, like Sagittarius like traits to pursue what I want. And Sagittarius is also always like, okay, I have decided my target, now I'm gonna go. Like, I'm just gonna go get it. Whereas like Aries is like, I'm gonna go and hope that, like, target is there, and but like, let's just find out what happens. Like, I'm just gonna open the door and whoever is there will deal with it when we deal with it. Whereas like Sagittarius is like, okay, I know what's behind the door, let's do it anyways, right? Whereas Leo might be like, I know what's behind the door, let me prepare myself before I walk in because I want to be the best, kind of. So that's like the biggest thing with, again, like if your Mars sign is in fire signs, maybe you're more like, you may crave more like sexual intimacy, things like that might be something that you value even in relationships, or like you value this sense of drive in your life. Like if you don't have that drive, then maybe you're like, I don't know. But with Mars and other placements, it might be different, right? So maybe like some people who have water sign in their Mars might like cry way more when they're angry. And that's not to say the fire signs don't. I get it. But it's just how you approach things. All right, so next up we have the planet of luck, which is Jupiter. So Jupiter is the planet of luck, expansion, growth. It reveals like where you seek abundance, wisdom, personal growth overall, and where you would like to expand. And what brings you a sense of adventure. And this can also be like a placement. So I think it's like Jupiter and Venus are two placements where you can kind of figure out like how you would meet your long-term partners. So like for me, my Jupiter's in Gemini in the 7th house, and so it says like, like I'm more likely to meet somebody through school, or like somebody who's like grown up with me or lives in the same vicinity as me. And that has been the case with my past romantic relationships. Like I have just met a lot of these individuals like within my vicinity. But say if like you had your like Jupiter and then Venus also combining that a little bit, like how you engage with them, like Venus, I have a Venus in Aries, so like very like combative, like competitive, but like banter, but silly, like fun, passionate kind of vibe as well. Um, but that I can go into that in more detail in another video. But regardless, so if you are, say, like a Sagittarius Jupiter, you're more likely to seek wisdom through travel and philosophy. If you're a Pisces Jupiter, you're more likely to find growth through spirituality and creativity. So I'm like a Jupiter in Gemini, so I'm more likely to find expansion and growth through curiosity, through knowledge, through just like learning more about life. And honestly, it makes sense as to why I'm in the field of social work and psychology. But yeah, overall, your Jupiter sign shows where you're more likely to experience opportunities for growth, how you pursue learning, and the house that it might be in might also tell you where you're more likely to be lucky or don't have to do a lot of work. So for me, being it in the seventh house, like romantic relationships, um, even if I focus on them a lot, like it's not something according to my chart I do have to worry about. Hi. But yes. And it's overall just related to your luck and overall sense of optimism, that what can help you bring some more positivity and luck in your life. Up next, we have Saturn. Some people love Saturn, some people don't. I love Saturn personally, but that's maybe because I'm a Capricorn moon and it's ruled by Saturn. But Saturn is a planet of discipline, responsibility, karma, structure. Your Saturn sign reveals like your lessons in life, the areas where you might face challenges and need to put hard work and effort. So, for example, if you're Capricorn Saturn, you might face lessons around authority, responsibility, achieving success through hard work, right? Leo Saturn could be deal with like self-esteem issues, self-expression issues, like confidence, might have a harder time stepping into leadership roles, and you might have to like work hard to get yourself there. My Saturn is in Taurus, so stability was a big thing, like home stability, comfort, luxury, love, like that's something that I've had to work hard on, you know. Financial security, and that's fine, but eventually you get there. Like it's not like you won't get there, it's just that's what's written in the thing. So your Saturn sign basically shows you like not only just where you face challenges and like where you can create lasting and meaningful growth, but also if someone is like, you know, messes with you, like that, like your Saturn, the house that it's in, that area is where they would get impacted and vice versa, right? So it's like part of your chart that teaches you your most important life lessons. And yeah. All right, you guys. So those are some of the key placements in your birth chart: the sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Each one it represents a different aspect of your life, you know, with the sun being your core essence, moon, emotional processing, rising, how you present yourself, Mercury, how you communicate, Venus, how you love, Mars, how you take action and approach anger. Jupiter is where you might be lucky or have growth and expansion, and Saturn is where you may have to work hard to learn some lessons. So when you combine all of those together, that is what creates you as an individual. It's not just your sun, not just your moon, it's all of them together, right? Like, okay, my friends, my family, my love life, my career path, my education, my medical problems, whatever, like it is, like all create me as an individual. Same thing with here. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about your own birth chart, there are a ton of free resources online to generate one. AstroSeek is my go-to. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what are your sun, moon, and rising signs and how they present in your life. And let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more astrology, psychology, manifestation tips, and insights. And I will see you next time. Bye!